Dear Patriots, before the news starts, please subscribe to our patriotic channel by clicking the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion below in the comments section. Share the news on Facebook and Twitter so you friends see it. Thank you.
Breaking famous singer says he would murder Trump if given the chance in the interest of humanity. Ever since President Trump has been elected, we have seen liberal celebrities and media acting out in very violent ways. It has only been getting worse. Morrissey, former frontman of the British band The Smiths, revealed that he would murder President Trump if given the chance. If there was a button here and if you pressed on it, Trump would die dead, sick. Would you push it or not? Asked an interviewer for the German magazine Der Spiegel. I would, for the safety of humanity. It has nothing to do with my personal opinion of his face or his family, but in the interest of humanity I would push, responded Morrissey. Trump has received so much attention, especially when compared to other candidates, Bernie Sanders, for example. Although the media said he would not win, every day, all the headlines, Trump, 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 Trump. He continued. The American media helped Trump, yes, they first created it. Whether they criticize him or laugh at him, he does not care, he just wants to see his picture and his name. The American media have shot themselves in the leg, he continued. He grabs after everything like a little child. He is not a leader. He is vermin. I never expected him to be elected. Maybe, I have no faith in the political elite anymore, he said. Susan Sarandon defies Dems, says we would be at war if Hillary had won. I think she's very dangerous. During the 2016 election, Academy Award-winning actress Susan Sarandon was a big supporter of progressive candidate Bernie Sanders. When Sanders ended up losing to Hillary Clinton in the Democratic primaries, Susan refused to dutifully back Hillary in the general election. Sarandon instead continued to speak the truth about Hillary Clinton, much to the chagrin of Democratic Party leaders. The past year since the election evidently has done little to allay Susan's fears about a Hillary Clinton presidency, as she just went off in an interview about what a disaster a Clinton presidency would have been. Sarandon is not a fan of Republican Trump, but she clearly understands where Trump voters are coming from. She started off by saying to the British Guardian newspaper, "Well, I knew that New York was going to go for Hillary. It was probably the easiest place to vote for, Jill Stein. Bringing attention to working class issues is not a luxury. People are really hurting, that's how this guy got in. What we should be discussing is not the election, but how we got to the point where Trump was the answer." Before the election, Sarandon had stated that Hillary was more dangerous than Donald Trump. When the interviewer asked if she still believed it, she responded, "Not exactly, but I don't mind that quote. I did think she was very, very dangerous. We would still be fracking, we would be at war, if she was president. It wouldn't be much smoother. Look what happened under Obama that we didn't notice." She went on, ripping Democrat Obama, she would have done it the way Obama did it, which was sneakily. He deported more people than have been deported now. How he got the Nobel Peace Prize, I don't know. I think it was very important to have a black family in the White House, and I think some of the stuff he did was good. He tried really hard about healthcare. But he didn't go all the way because of Big Pharma. Are you glad leftist Sarandon is telling the truth about corrupt Democrats like Hillary and Obama? MSNBC just said that Republicans are a domestic terror group and should be locked up. It is ridiculous how liberals feel like they can make outlandish, baseless accusations about Republicans, but then try to play down any attacks against them by conservatives as merely being fake news. One of the most over-the-top smears yet to come out of a left-wing pundit happened recently on an MSNBC show, where a liberal went so far as to call the Republican Party a terrorist group. The discussion on AM Joy started straightforwardly enough. with host Joy Reid asking Democratic pollster Fernand Armandi, "We know that Florida has a large abundance of people who are on chip. In a state like that, can the members of Congress from Florida afford not to renew chip? And why haven't they pushed for it?" Armandi began by answering a rational fashion, albeit wrongly, "It's an excellent question, Joy. You know, Florida and many other states would be decimated, Florida's children, other children." Fernando then immediately went off the deep end about Republicans, stating, "And I think it leads to the question, is it any surprise that the party that is pro-pay for play, pro-Putin, and now with Roy Moore, pro-pedophilia, the fact that they're anti-children, is that any surprise? I don't think it is. And I think, Joy, this is emblematic, this chip scenario where you mentioned 9 million children, without health insurance. Things just got worse from there." The leftist went on, "I think if you take a step back, one has to ask themselves, and I think the American people should ask themselves the border question, what has the Republican in the last 10 years done to help the American people? What have they done? This is not a political party, this is a domestic terror group. And I think what the American people should consider when they ask themselves that question, with a party that has done nothing to help the American people, is to vote them out and consider possibly afterwards locking them up." Joy, do you think liberals have lost their minds? After Michelle attacked Republican white men, the RNC chairwoman dropped hammer on her. Michelle Obama landed in hot water this week when she spoke at the Pennsylvania Conference for Women on Tuesday, in which she gave a speech calling Republicans all men, all white. Don't you love when so-called feminists literally erase the contributions and voices of women and people of color when it doesn't fit their narrative? What you can see is this real dichotomy. On one side of the room, it's a feeling of color. On one side of the room, it's literally gray and white. Literally, that's the color palette on one side of the room. She continued. On the other side of the room, there are yellows and blues and whites and greens. Physically, there's a difference in color, in the tone, because one side, all men, all white. On the other side, some women, some people of color. She then said that because of the all white, all men on the Republican side people don't trust politics. Ronna McDaniel, the chairwoman of the Republican National Committee, "Yes, women can be Republicans too," took issue with this blanket statement, saying in an interview with Fox News on Thursday, "It's unfortunate Michelle Obama would disregard the contributions of conservative women and people of all backgrounds with one sweeping, false accusation. There are many women and people of color in the Republican Party. Remember the 2016 election, when the GOP had a black candidate, 2 Hispanic candidates, an Indian American candidate, and a woman candidate, versus only white people on the Democrats' side. There is diversity in the GOP, and when Michelle Obama said that there is only white men, she totally disregarded those people. Glad the RNC has an awesome chairwoman in Ronna McDaniel to tell it like it is. Share it out if you agree." HT Fox News. Mike Pence just made a promise to America that no president has ever done before. One thing that President Trump and VP Mike Pence realize is that America has been needing something to be proud of again. Sure, we can say we are number one, but we need to do something truly awe-inspiring to prove it. That's why today, VP Pence was chosen to speak at the first convening of the National Space Council since 1993. He declared with absolute certainty that we will lead in space again and made a promise that no other president in history has ever done. The vice president promised that, under President Trump's leadership, America will make it to Mars and visit the moon again. Not only to leave behind footprints and flags but to build the foundations we need to send Americans to Mars and beyond. Now, it is worth noting that Barack Obama promised countless times to bring back the National Space Council but instead gutted NASA into obscurity and never convened the council once. Within just months of the Trump presidency, NASA has been restored and today the council was convened. The thing is, the media will not give him credit for a damn thing. As a millennial myself, I'm excited to see America do something truly incredible again in my lifetime. Sadly, it feels like that has been lacking for younger people to see. I'm sure when they see what Trump has done, they will be so filled with pride in our country again they will quit their dumb protests and hate groups. So let's share this out everywhere and let people know that America is really and truly about to be great again. CNN Symone Sanders attacks New York Times for normalizing Nazis. The New York Times has been known for its extreme liberal bias. But according to some liberals, it is not extreme enough. Actress Deborah Messing recently attacked the New York Times for writing a positive article about conservative firebrand Ben Shapiro. Now they are being attacked for normalizing Nazis. They wrote an article called "In America's Heartland, the Nazi Sympathizer Next Door." As everyone knows, actual Nazis are terrible. But one New York Times writer profiled attempted to profile and understand them. But according to liberal critics, it's articles like this that allowed Donald Trump to be elected. Even though that makes no sense. In Ohio, amid the row crops and rolling hills, the Olive Gardens and Steak and Shakes, Mr. Hoveder's presence can make hardly a ripple. He is the Nazi sympathizer next door, polite and low-key at a time the old boundaries of accepted political activity can seem alarmingly in flux. Most Americans would be disgusted and baffled by his casually approving remarks about Hitler, disdain for democracy and belief that the races are better off separate, writes the New York Times. But his tattoos are innocuous pop culture references. A slice of cherry pie adorns one arm, a homage to the TV show Twin Peaks. He says he prefers to spread the gospel of white nationalism with satire. He is a big Seinfeld fan, they write. CNN's Symone Sanders wasn't happy. Let me explain to some of you why this is trash and why the NITS needs more people of color at the decision-making table. First, this is reporting on something that is not freaking normal, but the profile in and of itself normalizes white nationalism, tweets Sanders.